Welcome to the birthday party. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We got things to give away. We got a lot to show you. I'm going to finish up last week's project before we get started.
They're asking, why do you have cake though?
I have cake because Monday is my birthday. And
Yay!
it's a big one. I'll just keep you guessing. So
we're going to take this away so we can sew.
That's correct.
We wish we could share it all with the UN.
Yeah, we wish we could share with everyone. But that's not possible. So that's why we're going to give you the presents. So we have got some great presents we're going to give away tonight. And the way you enter is to comment and ask questions and all of that fun stuff. So we had a lot of fun last week, but we didn't get it all finished. I'm going to have to get my camera here so it stays where it's supposed to. But I wanted to share with you because I finished it all but the ends, the edges, the border, whatever you want to call it. So here's what that design looked like when I got it all finished. And thank you everyone for the happy birthdays. I appreciate it. And so these are those templates that we used from the border set. So if you weren't with us last week, you can go back and catch that. I'm going to pull this up so you can see what I did on the middle here. So again, that was that rope template. I'm going to use that again tonight. And then this is what I had in the corner, or the triangle pieces. So I think, well, I don't know where my triangle piece is. It's this red triangle, Megan. I'm trying to get it on there. There we go. So you can see how nice, and that's that rope template. It filled right in on the triangle. Then I just did down the center of my border strip. And then this is the rope on the wider section of border, and it's not wider this way, I mean wider this way. And then the other section is just room enough for one of those. So we're going to do more with that rope template tonight. I had a lot of questions. How can I do this and how can I do that? So I'm going to share more information on that. But first, I want to show you how I'm going to finish this up. Now, I've already got it all cut and ready to go around the edge. And because of the way this is done, let me help you here. If you just pull it like that, it'll stay. Okay, so what I did here is this was obviously the edge of my fabric. I've left a 1/2 inch. And then I have got a 1.5 inch addition here. And so I'm going to be pressing these up like so. So it'll come up to meet that edge. Now for those of you, while I'm waiting to get my iron heated up, this is the handout for today, okay? And that is a project that we are going to do. And it's going to be a fun project because I wanted something really fun for you and something achievable. And it's going to be easy to do. But what I'm going to tell you right now is this is the supplies for it. You'll be able to do this later. This is the cart. If you need to purchase anything, that'll take you right to the Sew Steady site. Now, for those of you that are not aware of how this works, when you pull this handout up, and it's on 4 different places on the internet. It's on the Sew Steady site, the Westalee by me, and she's going to post a link right here in this site too. And so in the comments you'll find a link. But when you click on this, this basically takes you to the whole Sew Steady site. So anything that you want on there, you're going to be able to get, you're going to be able to purchase. Now I know a lot of you have asked about the background fills templates. Some of you already have them. I've had people sending me pictures that they've already made projects and they're loving them, and I thank you for that. And I know some of you, it's interesting because I designed the templates, but mine didn't get here this week, and so I ordered them before I even introduced them. So you guys got them before I did, so that's fine, but those that ordered directly from me, you're going to be waiting just a couple more days, so be patient with me. And this handout will then, I'm going to be showing you how to do these different things, all with the rope template, and you've got some room to make some notes there. And so that way, you will have the information you need for the project we're going to do. So now back to this project, I'm going to just take my wool mat, and I'm going to lay it on top of my Sew Steady table. And when I do this, I now can go ahead and press right on here. So I'm just going to take my little iron, and I am going to press. I think my cord's tangled, Megan. There we go. I'm going to press right along that edge. So that is right up against there. And I'm going to do a couple. I'm not going to do all 8 sides because we got plenty of else to share with you tonight. So there's one corner. It's a little tight here. There we go. And I'm going to open this end down here. I know you can't see it exactly, but I'm going to open this up so I can press it back that way because I want to show you how to miter that. So let's press the rest of this side and another one so that we can do 2 corners at least. So it looks like Miss AJ is coming to the party. If you see my cat pass through, she decided she wanted to be a part of it.
So this isn't really a question, but Myrna says she needs to find a way to sort and store her templates.
Well,
you are in the right video, Myrna, because we're going to show how Donelle stores hers. So keep watching because that will be our kind of intermission.
Yeah, so don't let me forget. All right. So I am now going to use a tool of mine that there will be, I think there already is, but there'll be another YouTube up on it. We're going to have a couple tonight that we need to show you that way, that you can get the full instructions. But this is what's called the Quick, Easy, Mini Border Miter. Nope, the wrong handout, Megan. It's the dual angle. This is the tool, and it looks like this. It has 2 spots. Some of you have gotten my one for the right angles that look like this, the Quick Easy Miter binding tool, but then we have one called the dual angled. It's a little one like that. Well, anyway, you don't need to see the handout here. I'm just going to show you how it works. So this is an octagon, and you'll notice that says octagon right there. And for those of you mathies out there, 135 degree angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down here and I'm going to line it right up. You'll notice it lines right up with that angle. And then I'm going to get my marker and I want to just go right along that edge. And you'll notice that I've taken my marker and kind of turned it at a slant because this is made so this is actually the stitching line and we want to stitch right on that line. So I'm going to come over to the other corner. This will work on hexagons, octagons, and all of those ones that sometimes are 6-sided but have this particular angle in it. So you can even take this and use it on some of those 6-sided pieces. So I've marked 2 of those, and I'm going to show you how to do this now. So I'm coming over here. I've got my machine set for a standard straight stitch, and I'm using my 1/4 inch piecing foot. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, fold it back on itself. So basically, I'm making it turn back like this. And at this point, those of you that have used my other tool know that when I do this, I then put a straight pin. Got that all turned, but I forgot to show you one mark. Right here, I'm going to put a mark right in that intersection of the line with the fold. So right there I have the line with the fold, and I'll need to do that on my other one. So now I'm going to pull this back. And right there, I'm going to put that pin through. And you can see how far off it is on the back. So I'm just going to lift that off of there and come up into that spot. And then pull my pin, my edges together, and my pin down so that that's good and flat. And then all I'm going to be stitching is from there to there. Just that short little distance. So it's not that I actually needed my 1/4 inch, but I knew that you would be able to see what I was doing a whole lot easier than if I used my larger foot. So I'm going to get this good and flat and get right in there. Set my foot down, and I'm going to stitch to the pin. I like to change my stitch length down to 2 on this because of the fact that you want a little tiny stitch to be able to hold that. And now I'm going back to the fold because I stitched to the pin. And then I'm going to release that and come back just to the middle because I want it back stitched on both of those. So you can see I've stitched it there, and because I matched it up, I've got that there. So let's go to the next one here. I'm going to have to get a bigger work surface when I work on these bigger projects. It's not that my table's not big enough, it's that I got a block back behind there and it's catching. So right here is where I want it to come through. I did a little better, but it's not perfect, so let's just back it off the pin and put it right back where it goes. And you can see why I flatten this, because that means that's good and flat. And then I'm going to test this by taking this pin and seeing if that's my good seam there. And it is. So I'm going to take that out. And then I'm just going to come over here and stitch that little short edge again. Now, like I said, we're going to have this on a YouTube because I want you to know exactly how to do this. I always hesitate when it's one stitch. Oops. Well, there we go, finally. Okay, so I'm back. I let go of it and I'm coming back. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And then I'll remove the pin. And I've backstitched quite a bit there, so I've got one little stitch. And this will happen to you, but because I've backstitched, I'm good. I'm just going to snip that stitch. And you can see I was able to just pull that stitch out of there. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut this and then just trim just a smidge off of that point. And then I'm going to use a point turner. I'm going to lay this out flat so that you can see it. And then I'm simply going to come back in here with my point turner and turn that out. And now you can see that I will be able to have a perfect miter to come right back around there. So I got my big clips handy. I should use my minis, but I'll just put my big ones there so you can see it. And I'll be able to just lay that down flat and have that perfect mitered corner with my border. And I will actually come back like you've seen me before and zigzag right along that edge. And that's how I'm going to miter all of those corners. So again, that is called the dual angle quick easy mitered binding tool. Binding is the key word here, okay? And so if you're wanting a little more information on that, you will soon be able to find that on our YouTube. So,
and our YouTube channel is Quilting
Template
Quilting with Donelle McAdams.
Okay, and so that's how that's going to finish up. All right, so that's how we finish up last week's project, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of the way. For those of you that joined us late, you may want to see what those designs ended up looking like. I just love that template on there, and I would have never guessed, all right, what that would do. This one was my center, and you're going to see more of that tonight. So, hand this over to Megan, and I'm going to get my drawing equipment, and I'm going to show you how I decided what we were doing tonight. So I'm going to take this foot off so that I'm ready for my template quilting. So I always take the time to tighten that with the screw.
Lillian, I want to know if the paws come with the tools. I
Oh,
think she saw our cat.
I say she did. All right, before we go any farther, let's go ahead and give away one of those tools that I just used. So again, my birthday, I'm giving you the presents, and Megan has a bunch of things thrown in there. She's going to hand me one so I'll know who's here. We're going to give quite a few presents away tonight. So here we go with the first one. And let's see who we have. Peggy Anderson. Peggy Anderson, you're winning the dual angle quick easy mitered binding tool. Peggy Anderson, you'll need to send my email your address. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to show you tonight is how I designed the first thing we're going to do. So I have here a stitching line disc. I also have a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, you guys. We've got a different camera angle, and I'm not sure it's working right. So I'm just going to go up a little higher so that I don't put my hands in your way as much. And I have my 2.5C rope template. That can be purchased by itself, or it comes in the border sampler set, the one we used last week. And I have my 12.5 inch crosshair square. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make my 8 lines for my crosshair square. And I'm making them pretty dark so that you can see it. So there we have that drawn. And so then what I'm going to do is I want to draw the inside or the smaller. On your picture, I don't know if it came out, but it looks like to me this is a pink color. And this is a smaller version, okay? So this smaller version right there, I'm going to get that by using this template. And the way I want it to spin is I want the long section this way, and I want it to go around. So I'm actually looking at the back side of that template, because this one would make it spin the opposite way. So I'm on the back side of the template, so my letters are upside down and whatever. Now you notice I've got some of my ruler stickers on there. Those are available on the Sew Steady page. And these ruler stickers are such that you can reposition them. Well, I'm going to use them later, so I'm going to leave it on there. But I'm going to get a couple more stickers because in a minute I'm going to show you a position that you're going to need to know. So what I'm doing here is I am going to be using my 0.5 Echo Guide. So I would be using that on the foot to do this next design. Well, it's not very easy to have that 1/2 inch opening in there and draw with that. Well, guess what? You simply take your stitching line disc and set it in the hole. So I'm setting my stitching line disc in the hole. I'm going to bring it up to the center here, and I'm going to set this template on there so that the etch line just beside the B1, there's an etching up there. I'm going to take and put a ruler sticker on there so I will know that each time that's what needs to line up on the line. Because I'm using this totally different. I'm making a flower out of this. So right there is where there is the etched line. So putting this in right in the middle, lining up that, I will then be stitching around, moving it to the next line, and stitching around. Move it to the next line. Uh-oh, I stopped at the wrong spot. It's the pink sticker. Hold this in the middle. Line that up. You can see it there. So we are going to be designing just like that. So that's how I would get that particular drawing that you have on your handout.
Which a lot of them are saying that's really cool that you could put your Echo Guide or your stitching line disc in
the Echo Guide. Yeah. Found that out when I was designing. I thought, how in the world am I going to do this? And then it kind of dawned on me, well, it fits right in there. So now I can do my designing.
Do you know, does the Westalee Echo Feet fit Bernina's?
Yes, they do. The only one that I'm aware of that they don't fit is the Viking foot, the one that's made by Viking. It's a little bit small and won't hold it. So there's the design that you have in the upper left side of page 2 on your handout. Now I'm going to leave my Echo Guide right there because that's how I'm actually going to be stitching that. And then I am going to do the same thing, only this time I am going to go between here. And the way that I know where it's going to line up is there is right up here a line that means nothing to me from anything else. However, I have found that it works perfect without making more lines. So right there, that line is where I'm going to line up to get this to be in the right position. Whoa, it went a little bit too fast. There we go. Sorry about that. And then I'm coming over here, and that line lined up there puts this in the right position to get it right in between there. So I'm going to hold this template up so that you can see this is an etched line, and there's a line right there. and that's where it's going to line up on this line to get that right in between there. So when we actually do this today, the first one that I did, I'm going to do in red, and the second one I'm going to do in green. So you will be able to see by that drawing, there's the first one, and there's the second one. Now it's kind of blue on that paper, but that's going to be green when we actually stitch it out. Okay?
There has been a question on the template. Sometimes, like this one says 2.5C. Some have A, some have B. Is there any reason, do you know the reason for the letters A, B, C?
I have no idea how they named them. I really don't know. So I wish I could tell you better on that, but I can't. So we're going to take that paper away. I just wanted you to see how I came up with the design. And trust me, that wasn't my first one. Ah, they want to see how I store my templates. Okay, we will show you that. So Megan, are you going to take this?
I am, but your foot is wrapped around our...
Okay, let's turn that off so we don't have any issues with that. So I think I might be able to just pull this over here.
Oops, I forgot that our camera's in a new spot.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, so here's how I store my templates. Organize them is probably the best way to say it. These are crates, and I just have, if I want to find my Circles on Quilts Wreath 16, it's alphabetized. I can come in here and there's my templates. They are all in hanging folders, so let's say I get too many in here to hold this. I can take the last 2 or 3 folders and put them down in the next one. So I have 3 of these stacked, and I have them on a little rolly cart thing. And so all of my templates are in there, and they're alphabetized, and it makes it easy for me to find what I'm using.
And what you like is that if you get new ones, you can
Right.
put them back in.
I can always add them in and put them in order. Like yesterday I was teaching with the mini Spinifex, and that's got like 12 or 15 templates in it. And I just pulled that whole section out there to be able to use that. And you can see I've got quite a few templates here, so if there's something you're wanting to see, and you see something in here, I'd be happy to do a class on it or whatever. But I just store them like that, and it makes it so easy, even if you can't stack them. Well, I should say can't stack them, but even if you don't have a little roller cart, it still makes it easy to store those.
And the card I got was from school, but I bet you could use anything like plant potter ones
like
with wheels, or
any of the plant pots with wheels or something like that. But inexpensive to do, hanging file folders. I get the heavy duty ones, and it just makes it real easy to store your templates and be able to get them real fast, because I can tell you, I've spent a lot of time struggling, trying to find templates, and this has been great. Even when I'm doing a class, and sometimes I'm working with Stacy Louie, who is one of the owners at So Steady, and she'll say, "Hey, Donelle, can you find the whatever template? Somebody wants to see that." And it's like, oh, yeah, I can, believe it or not. So here's what we're going to work on today. So this was a 12.5-inch square in the middle, because you've got your supplies there. And this is a mitered border. Now, this is another thing I'm not going to be able to show you tonight, but as soon as we're finished with this, Megan and I are going to do about a 15-minute YouTube and post it up there so that you can see this. We're going to give away this tool tonight, several of them, because it is another one of my quilting tools. And this one is called the Quick Easy Mitered Border Tool. And this is what it looks like. It's so simple to do so that you can get mitered borders. And this is the large size. There is a mini. And just so you know, I always have a bunch of pictures in my handout handouts so that you can follow step by step. But I'm going to do a YouTube because sometimes it's easier to actually see it, and seeing is believing. So there's no real right or wrong to this. I'm not even sure why I turned that around, but I wanted you to see that it is a miter, and it makes it so it lays nice and flat. Every time that I was doing miters, I ended up getting these cups, and so I wanted to find a way to keep that from happening.
So if you want to know to get notification of when that video's up, we would like for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Template Quilting with Donelle McAdams, and as soon as we get new ones put up, you will be notified if you subscribe to that channel.
And we appreciate your subscription to it, because that way then you will get the notifications on it. So we're going to find the dead center of this. So I need my crosshair square, and I'm going to put that underneath here. Don't let me forget to change my thread. I don't want to get started and do the wrong thing. So what I'm doing is laying that on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my red. I think you'll be able to see it with that.
And for anybody who's new, you spray it with 2 times of...
I sprayed Best Press on this through a mister bottle. And the reason for that is because I get better coverage. If you get a mister bottle, your Best Press will last a third of the time longer, and you will have great coverage. So not only is it great to give your fabric a little stiffness, it also puts pretty much a barrier on there so that the ink in this Frixion pen is not going to go through. And I don't even have a good Frixion pen there, so let's just go to the black and get her done. So we're going to lay this on here and get it lined up again. Looks like I'm due for some new pens.
Well, your birthday is coming up.
Oh,
so
there we go. I'll get new pens for my birthday.
Either that or Santa will put them in your stocking.
Well, all right, there we go. So we have our lines on there now. And remember, the first one I said we are going to do in red. And so I had some red thread picked out.
I have them right here in my hand.
And I am using a quilting. This is a Mettler quilting thread, and it is 40 weight. So for those of you that were just getting ready to ask, that's what I have. I'm using a 90 top stitch needle. If you have a Janome, you might want to use the purple tip needle. That's the same equivalent. And we're going to use, I better get some thread in my bobbin because I've got some gold down there. Let's see here what we got threaded.
Linda, you're asking us what line of fabric we're using, and I don't know. It came from our stash.
Yeah, I was ready for that because this is from the stash. I hate to tell you that, but this is from my stash, and it's probably not real recent. So I've got, well, let's just say way too much stash. So I am ready for a snowy winter, and we should hopefully maybe get one this year. Some of you are saying, I've already seen more snow than I want to see. I don't mind when I'm home and in, and Megan's found it. So what is it?
So the green is Benartex.
The green is Benartex.
Chickadees and berries. And it's possibly from 2005.
Okay, well, that's a little old.
A little old. And the gold
so you can tell my stash is on bolts.
is from Lake House, Antique Damask, and it's also
Well, interesting that I had them together. And so, yeah. I could part with a little bit if you need some, let me know. Okay, because it's still on bolts. So we have got this set here for our ruler work. And I have my red thread on the top. And I have a green to match my backing. And you will notice that I have batting. It's sticking out a little bit because I'll probably do that same deal of turning this around. So I have my 4-inch borders are put on here, and I did my mitering. I have a 22-inch piece of batting, which is probably more than I need, so you could go a little less. And then I have a 25-inch square for the backing. So now remember, I said I was going to use my echo guide. So I'm going to use that echo guide by taking the thread through the expansion slot. Now here's a little trick, you guys. I am going to put this up against this little piece of black so you can see it. This has a 0.5 on this side. This opening is bigger than this opening. So if you have it upside down and you try to put it on and you can't get it on because it seems too tight, you're going to flip it over. And some of you might try to put it on and it won't stay on because it's too loose. Put it over the other way. That's just a little hint that tends to work. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in through that expansion slot. And I'm going to put my foot down, pick it up, and pull it up onto my foot there. So when I set it back down, I still should be able to move this. Now, because I didn't do any stitching before you guys joined me, I'm going to get a little piece of scrap over here and I'm going to give it a shot because I want to make sure that I've got everything set correctly. Tension looks good, no skipping, so I should be good to go. I'm going to take a look at the back. You can look with me to see my tension. Maybe just pull the top just a little bit more because I see a little red right there. So, looks like we're good to go. Coming into the center, before I pull up my thread and all that good stuff, I better find my template. So here's my template. Remember, I'm using it upside down. Now this is one that we use on both sides, so there's stable tape on both sides of my template. But I'm using it upside down because even though it looks like it's totally symmetrical, it just kind of, it'll fool you. So right in the middle of my template there, I'm going to put the foot down, I'm going to the center, and I'm bringing up my needle, bringing up my thread. Again, my thread is matching my backing, so that's why I was checking my tension. And I'm going to go right back down in the center. And I'd like to take a second and welcome those new ones out there. So if you're new, you might let everybody know you're meeting some of your best friends right now. Everybody out here that's here at the party today is a template quilter that's willing to share information and help you out. And so if you need anything, get over there on the Westalee by Me group and join that group because this is a great group of people that's going to be able to help you get going. And I would recommend if you're new, go to the Sew Steady page when this is over, not right now. Go to the Sew Steady page and look back to March 18th to the Let's Get Started, probably 2 to 2 hour and 15 minute information on the very basics of the rulers, of the feet, of the markers, of all of the different things to get you going. All right, so what we're doing first does not involve this spot right here, okay? We are actually using the template and lining up with the, it is that mark. It's this one that we're not using. So this is the one I'm using, and I'm going to put a little mark on it because I don't have my third color because I'm out of them. Santa, get me some of these. Oh, that didn't even mark on there. Oh, well, I'll just have to remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it so you can see it right back there. That's going to line up because there's a little etching there. And we are going to follow around with our echo guide, stopping in the center. Again, I'm moving this so that you can see it. I wouldn't have to do that if it was just me, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Now again, for you that are just joining us for maybe one of the first times, or maybe somebody else forgot about it, remember I've set my machine to a medium speed, and my foot pedal I turned around to the back. So I'm going to show you what I got this week because I got tired of my foot pedal walking away. And so this is what's called a pedal stay. Oh my gosh, it looks like it's 100 years old because I've been using it so much. This is a pedal stay. And so it sits like this. My foot goes here. So this is the high side. My pedal is hooked to this with a little piece of Velcro. And I just simply put my toes, pretend that's my toes, and I floor it because I've got my speed set to medium. This is the back of my foot, and then I can just simply floor it. And so this keeps it from walking away while I'm working. And so it's one of those things that I was thrilled to get. So treating myself to a little birthday present. Lining up right there. I think we should give it away another one of those dual angle.
I told them that once we reached 400 YouTube subscribers, we'd pull it, and we're only 4 people away. So if you have not subscribed, we're waiting on 4 more people before the next giveaway.
All right.
Don't worry, giveaways are coming from those who are here. We're just kind of doing both.
Well, she is on it tonight.
Oh, we did have a question. Where can somebody find the cinch needles? Is that on the So Steady site?
The So Steady site does not have those. You would want to go to your local quilt store, or you can email me and I can get you fixed up. Now I'll tell you what I plan to do when this is all finished is put some stones in the center of this. We'll see what time we end up with tonight to see if I can do that. But I've just now got all of those finished. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my little gate, even though my template looks like it's got a party going on with it, I still have my gate, and I can take that off. I need to get this off. So I'm carefully going to raise my needle by turning my hand wheel. Listen up on this. Never turn your hand wheel back. I'm going to turn my hand wheel up so my needle is just in the fabric to hold the place. I'm going to lift up my foot, and I'm going to push down and pull my foot or my echo guide right through that little expansion slot to get it off of there. Because that way I don't have to break my thread or anything like that. So that's how you can do that. Just turn your hand wheel towards you, and that way you will not damage or hurt any of your parts of your machines, because your machine is used to going in one direction. When you touch reverse, the hand wheel doesn't go the other way. It still comes forward. So you need to know that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this foot back down. Oh, you know what, you guys? I am going to have to break my thread because I'm changing to green. Well, you got some instruction there that maybe you didn't need, but it'll work for you when you don't change your thread, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to raise that needle and pull this back so I get all my threads, and then I'll be showing you that cinch needle. So I'm going to pull this out. I don't have to pull out quite that far, but I want him to get my hand back out of the way so you could see. Needle down in the center and up again, foot up, and then just floss that bobbin thread up so that you can get a hold of it and pull it out. And it's pretty simple to find because it's green. I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to cut the thread from my machine. So now I can just reach under and pull that thread back through the bottom, and I have my threads here all on the top. Do you have any questions while I'm doing that?
Not about that. Are you okay for another question?
Let me show them how to use the cinch needle. So this is a cinch needle, and that is what it looks like at the top. I think you can see that little opening on the side. And so cinch needles come in a package of assorted sizes. This is what the package looks like. And I am going to be taking this out just so that you can see it a lot easier. So I'm going to take all of these threads, wrap them around, and go through like so. And then I'm going to put that right back down to the center, and I'm going to pull this down. And the reason I went through my loop here, you can see that loop. The reason I went through that loop is because then I have control of where the knot forms. And so that knot's going to form right out there. It's going to go in right here, and that way I can pull it under and you won't see that knot. So I just pulled those threads into the side there. I'm going right back in the center, and I'm going to come out somewhere away from there with that thread buried in the batting. Uh-oh, she's getting antsy.
Well, we made our goal of
All right,
400,
well,
so
I'm going to show them this just a second.
Okay.
She's in a party mood, I'm telling you guys. All right, so I'm going to pull this through, and right there you can see it's a little bit of a dark knot. That one is my start, but right there I just popped that through there. I wish you could have heard it. And then I'm just going to pull this up and cut that thread, and then just go like that, and that's down inside there. Now this isn't really going to matter because in a minute I'm going to use green thread, so there's going to be green there anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and switch. This is the same kind of thread, only it's in green. Now for those of you that haven't taken my beginning class and all of that, I will tell you that when you first get started, you're probably going to want to use a polyester thread. It's a little bit more forgiving so that when you're first getting started, you're not going to have any kind of breakage and whatever. But you can, this is 100% cotton thread that I'm using today. I'm not going to have any problems with it. And for those of you that are wondering, how do you control your stitches to keep them nice and even and all of that? Well, I'm just going to say two things. First of all, don't look too close. And second of all, don't worry about that when you're just first getting started. Learn your techniques. How do I move the template? How do I keep my template in place? All the different things that you learn your techniques. And all of a sudden, you're going to look at your work and you're going to go, oh my gosh, those stitches are even. And you're just going to be so proud of yourself because of the fact that you have come a long ways from, getting so worried about all of these little stitches being even, and they just automatically start doing that, and mainly because you set your speed on medium and turn that foot control around. So I'm not a free motioner. Most of you know my story. I'm certainly not a free motioner, and that was why, is I could not get my stitches to look like anything, and I was always nervous about how hard to press on the pedal. Now I don't have to even think from my knees down. So I've got my thread pulled out. This again is my template, and this time I am not using these green arrows. I'm using this one. Oh, she rang that bell. I forgot.
And what are we giving away again?
We are giving away the dual angle tool that I used at the beginning. That's for the mitered binding. And Colleen, staying by. Colleen, you are the winner of that. And I am going to now use this guide right here on my line. You can see it out there. And I've got this around this part. And this is going to place a larger leaf, so to speak, in between each of our red. So, right back there, I'm lining that up. I'll show you that template again. And, you know, I don't know, I've never told anybody to do this, but maybe you can just take a picture with your phone of when I show it.
Oh, somebody did ask earlier, could you use embroidery thread when doing this?
Yes, you can use about any thread that you want. So you can use embroidery thread. Now I stopped right there because I noticed my thread was going to get caught. I'm turning. That point right there is going clear back to that line back there. You just want to look to see that it's in between there. Now, if you're going to make these for gifts, because this is a pretty fast one to do, you could easily just leave this so it was the same thread, because it'll be just as pretty. And you would have this done, as we used to say, lickety-split. Uh-oh, I'm showing my age by saying lickety-split. So that's my last one, and since I've got so much green there in the center, I'm just going to kind of stitch around and cut my thread. Because what that will do is just make it so there's like a center there. And if I decide to put some stones in there, I've still got plenty of room to do that. So now I want to show you how you can stitch the back of this and have it so that there's stitching there rather than, you could just leave it like this. But I want to show you an easy way to do some background stitching. Now I don't want it to be real noticeable. So I think I'm going to use that thread right there. Always check. Yep, I think that'll work.
So there's a question, could you make this into a pillow or a wall hanging?
You could do anything you want with this. This could be made into a round pillow. Just whatever you put this on. I chose a square that's an exact 12-inch square. You can do whatever you want with it. So I'm going to rethread real quickly here. It's another 40 weight thread. It's one that's going to be very non-noticeable as far as color, but it's going to highlight your quilting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler. Any kind will work. I happen to like my little 12-inch ruler here. And I am going to set it right here in the corner. And if I don't have an exact 12 inches, I'm just going to move it in so that I've got the same difference on either end. And it's less than 1/8 of an inch, so it's like a 1/16 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that marker again, and I am going to mark every inch right against my border.
They tell you that by you using lickety split must just mean you're a young one.
Oh, is that right? So I'm going to stop here and see on this end, you know, where we are, because every side could be a little bit different. Every inch, you could go, you know, whatever you want distance apart, but you want to have your marks right here next to your border. What did I do? I got off there. Okay, there we go. This one we're not going to use. And This technique goes pretty fast. While I'm doing this, Megan, let's give away another one.
Okay. All right. I'm digging deep in the name pile. You guys have been keeping me busy writing names down. And this is for...
A quick, easy miter binding tool, dual angle. The same one we've been given, which is the one I did at the first.
I thought we were giving this one away.
Not yet.
Okay.
We're going to give away lots of fun things. Okay, so I've got those marked. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start anywhere I want to start, actually. So the winner is Carol McKinnon. Carol McKinnon, you are the winner of the Quick Easy Dual Angle Mitered Binding Tool. All right, so what I need next is just simply a straight edge. So I'm going to get my 12.5-inch arc that comes with my sampler set. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply start right here in this seam. So I'm going to come over and put my foot down and put my needle right in the seam line. I'm going to raise it up and pull up that bobbin thread. I'm going to set it back down, get my needle right in the seam line. And what I'm going to be doing is sitting this against, I'm going to turn it so you can see it. I'm going to set it against my foot, and I'm going to be measuring, whoa, stepped on my foot control.
We just called a Carol. Somebody else named Carol said, you called the wrong one.
Oh, yeah. So right back here is my center spot. So I am going to set this against the center to get my 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to be stitching until this side of the foot touches something. The first time it touches something, I stop and I go back. Okay? And then I'm going to be ditch stitching. So I'm going to measure that. I want to make sure I got right in the ditch. Get your 1/4 of an inch out. And you're going to stitch to the next spot in the ditch. And I doubt that many of you have done this before. This is not hard, but it's good practice because you can see it's not really going to show because I picked a thread that matches this. But then what I'm going to do is once I've got to that point, I'm putting that going back to the center the same way and measuring, and I'm going to stitch until I touch something with my foot, and then I go back. Get right in that ditch, measure, come to the next spot. Make sure I got there. I got one more stitch. There we go. And I'm going to go back to the center and measure and stitch until I touch something and go back. So I'm not going to do this whole thing tonight. I'll just do a quadrant of it and then I'll come back and finish it. But you can see how easy this is because I'm using my center point and those points I marked. And I'm just, I went too far on that one. Well, that one's going to have to come out, but not tonight. I said I'm not ripping out in front of you guys again.
So Linda asks, are they just like radiating lines?
That's exactly what they are. So this one is a little too long. So that's where you either find a longer template, or that's the reason I have stable tape on the back of my ruler here, because I can measure that. Again, go in until you touch something and come back.
And the question is, you're touching it to the foot, not your knee.
That's right, touching it to the foot, so it's not going in. Now, you could do it the other way. You could touch it so that you're touching the stitching. That's fine. I just kind of wanted to frame up my design. Touch and come back. Line up, stitch in the ditch. I'm going to be right in the corner this time. I'm going to line up and stitch till I touch. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I'm going to pull it out so you can see it. And I'm just simply going to go ahead and cut because I'll be coming back and anchoring again. But other than the one I went too far, I need to iron off my lines here because you can see my black line and whatever. But this will allow you then to have your radiating template design. You can see on the back better what it's going to look like. So you can see there what that looks like on the back.
And the ruler you were using, the yellow one, that's your centering ruler,
This
right?
is my 12.5-inch centering ruler. That's available from SewBiz. So you can go to SewBizMarion.com and that's where that's available. So you can see what that does, how that kind of accents that design. So I hope you like that. That's maybe a new technique for you. And now we're going to let the fun begin. I'm going to put my green thread back on, because I had so many requests to how do I work with that rope template. Yeah, I was thinking there. That rope template to get a miter. Now you can't miter at both corners with the same design. You can switch in the middle and go the opposite way. But we're going to do it tonight in a way that we're going to miter from 2 corners. And this should go fast enough that I can do both for you so that you'll get the hang of it.
So we've got some new ones on here, like you've mentioned. They want to know what that little tool is that you're measuring with. I think they're talking about your...
spacing gauge. Yeah. The spacing gauge. And these normally are clear, but they're now available in teal. I know if you go on to the Sew Steady site and place an order of Westalee products that's like $50, you're going to get a free notions necklace, which, Megan, it's in that little, yep. You're going to get a free notions necklace, and you're going to get the spacing gauge with it. So if you place a $50 order or more, you're going to get this free, and this will pop right off of here, and this will allow you then to use your spacing gauge, pop it back on. You don't have to use it for your spacing gauge. You can use it for your scissors or whatever. Now what I need to do, and I've done the measuring for you, is I need to put a center line, and again, this is why I like my ruler, is I need it to be 1.5 inches from my border. So I'm going to use the lines that are on my ruler here, and I am going to chalk with my iron-off chalk. And you want to just make sure that your fabric doesn't pucker, because this is what you're going to guide with. So I'm going to come back this way, still lining up.
And that centering ruler, they want to know the thickness of it, because I think we have some long armors or high shanks out there.
This is actually the same thickness as a low shank ruler.
But it can be used for both, right?
So here's how you would use it for both. If you want it to be taller, this is an old trick. Tape some pennies on it, and it'll get taller. And if you want, you could put your pennies on, and then you can put your stable tape on. So if you want it thicker, you could tape some pennies on it. So I've got it drawn there, and I'm going to go ahead. Oops, turned it around the wrong way. And I'm going to draw through. I'm going to turn this 1.5 inches.
Ooh, some of them out there are getting red spacing gauges. That's
cool. I didn't know we had more colors. Well, that's cool. I'll bet the red's for Christmas.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for letting us know.
So those of you that aren't familiar, this is a Choco pen from Clover. This is available from Sew Steady. As of yet, they do not have the iron-off chalk, but the iron-off chalk will allow you to iron this chalk right off. So you're going to empty this chalk and put in the iron-off chalk, and then you'll be able to press it off. All right. So I have mitered, which means, you know, it's coming out from the corner here. I have a mitered corner. And so I am going to work with my rope template to create a mitered border on there. Now what we're going to do, as you saw on the handout, and this was that 1.5 inches, and that's why I did that. We are going to start in this corner and we're going to do 5 this way, and then we will flip it over and do 5 that way, and then we would start in this corner up here and do them this way and that way. Now if you wanted to, you could start here and do like 2 and start in this corner and come back and do 2, and then whatever's in the center, you could put another design, you could leave it open, you can do whatever. But I kind of like it when it does this, so you can miter 2 corners. So if you were doing a real long border, there's all kinds of options how you can play around, but you can't keep going the same direction and miter, because that template will not do that. All right, we're going to give away the mitered border tool. So this is what it looks like. This is the handout for it. When you're using it, you're going to have all the pictures just like the other tool. And again, we're going to be doing a YouTube right after this on how to use it. So we're going to give this tool away. She's reached down real deep. Merry or Muret. It's probably the wrong Mary, huh? Some of you are thinking that. Wrong Mary. Well, no, Merry Muret. You are the winner of this one. How many of the others did we give away?
3.
3. So we got 1 more of the others, 3 more of this, and then we're going to give away 4 rulers. This is a great birthday party, you guys. All right. So here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm using this upside down again. And when you look at this template, I'm going to take this one off. Well, I'm going to show you before I take it off. This is what I lined up with to do the pink. So if you're looking at your handout, this is where I lined up. That line right there was what I lined up. Templates upside down, and I lined that up to do the very first picture. The second picture, the template remains upside down, but I lined up with this line that's right along this etching. So I'm going to take it off so you can see that line goes clear back. But that's what I lined up to do that one. Now I'm going to take both of these off so that you don't get confused with it. I just put them right on the edge of my table because I'm going to use them again. But what I've marked here is you can barely see that one little dash right there. That's a whole dashed line across there, the same as this. You can see the one dash right there. But all I need to reference are those 2 points. And that's going to go on this line. Okay? Now, another way that you can line it up is right up here, there is a line. And so I'm going to stick that back on there. So you will have 2 reference areas. So we will have this reference area right here. And then that line is actually right on the edge of our border. So let's see if we can get this so they can see this a little straighter on. That's better right there. I got to tighten it up. I guess it didn't work. Well, I think you're going to be able to see it just fine once I get it in there. So what I'm going to be doing is this right here needs to be 1/4 of an inch to the left of where I start. So I'm lining that up, I'm lining this up, and I'm going to line this up, and then I just need to move this so that from that seam to that edge is 1/4 of an inch. So I'm measuring there, need to move it just a smidge, and there, and I need to get right in here to line up that line there and this line here. So I'm going to come down. When I stitch, I should be right in that seam. So I'm going to set this foot down. That is not where I'm going to start. Okay? When we do this, the stops are at the 1 and the starts are at the letter, like A or B. So I've got to pull out this pen. I don't want to lift much. Once you get it all lined up and then you find you got a pin under your template. Maybe that'll be skinny enough. There we go. All right. So I'm lining that edge up there. Don't think anything is moved, but I don't have any thread in my needle. Now I do. I always like to start with my thread under my foot. And this may just be, there we go. If you can pull your fabric to the side, it helps. So is that needle going to go right? Ooh, yeah, it is. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is I am going to stitch from A all the way back around, and this time I'm stopping at A1. Okay? Now I could have started at B, and then I wouldn't have gone over it so much. So let me just, since I haven't pulled my thread up, let's start at B. Okay? Needle up, foot up. You notice how I'm putting weight on my templates with my wrist because I've got everything lined up and I don't want it to move. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go around and there is B1 or B, and I'm going to come back and stop at B1. So I got my first one finished and I'm going to move over. And this little etching will line up right on what we've already stitched. So I'm getting that line right, this line right, and I'm not going to be stitching over that, but that's how I can test to see that I've got my template in the right place. So it looks like everybody's good, so I'm coming around, back to A, and stopping at A1, right here. Move it over. Keep this line, you know now why I've got those on there. My etchings lined up here and there. My lines back here are lined up. I'm going to just check. B to B1. Move over. Etch lines, this line, these lines, check. Now, I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got room for one more. So I'm going to come back to right here. I'm sliding over Now notice that I'm not always in the right spot there, and that's okay. But I'm using these lines up here at the top. I'm using these etchings, and there's an etching right back here that I can see, and I can come down to that corner with just a couple stitches. And now this one, I'm going to stop when I get right back there. Now on this, all I need to do is go a couple stitches and back, and I won't have to tie because I reinforced my stitches there. And so that's my rope border. Now, we're going to come around this way, do the same thing, but we're going to join it to this. So I am going to flip this over. My line or my ruler stickers still show up, they're just not colored. I'm coming back in here, and because this is already stitched this time, I'm going to start down here at the bottom, and I know that's a given, so I might as well just get right in there and put that needle down and bring that thread up. So now I've got that up. Put my needle right back down where, oops, got to pull my thread. Right back down there. And this time, it may not be right in that corner. I've got to get these lined up. These up here I need to line up. There's a lot of things you've got places to register, and I've got like one stitch to come down. I'm going to come right back to there and to that B1. I'm going to come over. I'm going to line up here, line up here. Well, that one's just a little bit off. So let's see if I need to, rotate it. Now that one's on, they're all on. I'm going to B. And back right here to A1. So your letters may change a bit. You've just got to figure out what your goal is and where you're lining up. See, like right here, I've got an extra stitch to come down. I knew she was going to do that, you guys. So she's got a prize ready again. I just got 2 more, Megan, and we'll be good.
You guys don't know, but I really wanted to wrap all of these and make her unwrap them. I was being no on that.
Like, I'd have time to unwrap them.
Well, I know. It's a birthday. You need to wrap presents, but...
Okay, so this is my last one. I'm coming in here, I'm just going back and forth, and I'm going to cut that. All right, so we have that. I'm going to do the other side over here because I want you to be able to see it one more time. But you can see in the corner, I got to tie my threads here, but you can see how that kind of makes a little tulip there, and it takes your border and goes both ways. So let's go ahead and give away a prize, and then we'll be ready to do this other side. So again, this is the one we just gave away, and the winner is Denise Whitman. Denise Whitman, you are the winner of that tool. So just so you know, I'm not sure exactly because I haven't looked lately. I think this one is like $24 and the other one is $19.50 or $19.95. And then we're going to be giving away some rulers here in a minute too. So I'm going to flip this back over and we're going to walk through this one more time because I know some of you, I can see the little happies out there, are thrilled that you now know what to do with this template. So remember this time the scallops are up here, and you're probably wondering what those scallops are for. So here's what they're for. You could go back and echo. So I could echo around my design. So you could go back and echo that. But this one we're starting in this corner. We are going to line up top, this line here. So I know that's where I need to position it. I just don't know if it's the right direction, left and right. So I need to come over just a smidge because I want my seam or my stitching to be in the seam is what I'm trying to say. So let's just start right here at B. And I'm going to show you how I do this. Since I cut that last thread, I'm not going to pull it up this time. I'm going to stitch down here. I'm going to go around. I'm going to come back in and overlap it and then come back, and I'll just be able to cut it off. And when I'm here, these are the lines, the etchings. You can see that curve right there. That's what you may have not been able to see before. And I'm lining that up, and there's one down here. I'm lining up my lines there and there and there and there.
We have so many comments. They are loving this rope ruler.
I will tell you that it comes in all different sizes. The reason I picked this one is because I knew it was in the border sampler set, and many of you have the border sampler set. And I know when I first got it, I always tended to end off in space somewhere because I didn't know about this center line. And having that center line allows you to get everything right, like I'm looking right here, twisted, so to speak, so you don't end up going farther away from your border, top or bottom.
So that was a question earlier. Somebody asked that was there an etch? Is there an etch line on your template for that middle line?
Yes, right here. These green arrows cover it up, but there is, and I'll show you when I flip it over. So I'm lining up here. I'm lining this up. I'm getting that on that line up at the top so it doesn't wobble one way or another. And just like that, we have done our 5, overlap, come back, and just cut that thread. But you can do a rope rather quickly once you got the hang of it. Now, it looks like I didn't get so good on my seam, but oh well, life goes on. So I'm flipping it over, and now you can probably see in there that etching right underneath there. That's the etching. I've got it covered up with my point because the point is right at the end of the etch. All right, so should have looked a little closer on this one, but life goes on, just like I said. So I'm going to line this up. I'm going to choose to go right over my stitching. I'm going to line that up in that corner. And this time we don't have to go all the way around it because of the fact that I already have. So I'm coming back and moving here. I'm moving over, lining up, matching up, matching up, matching up, matching up. Move over, line up. Don't worry that this isn't in the right place here. Everything else is. So you just come down and back.
So Lorraine has a great question. How do you decide which size of rope template to use for a project?
So whatever border you're in, whatever you're trying to fill up space-wise, that's the way you would decide. This is a pretty large one. There are smaller ones. I would not try using like I did before with the Echo Guide. Don't try it on doing an actual rope. It's too confusing, trust me. I have handled that one not well though. So get yourself the rope templates. You can get a whole set. So you can see here, we've got the same thing. So now, Megan, you want to help me hold this camera back? So as soon as I finish up my little radiance in here. This one will be done. Let me hold this back so you can see how that corner is. I got some threads to tie.
Pull the corner down so we can see it.
I'm not sure where you are. There?
Yeah, there we go. Now we can see that beautiful corner.
Okay. And this is what I was talking about here to keep this space even. That's why you have those lines up here at the top of the template. There are lines up here at the top, and it doesn't matter what you decide to set it on, just keep it consistent. And wherever you set that line is where you're going to go 1.5 inches from those. So I just usually go 1.5 inches down, and you can see right here when I bring this around, it's going to cover up, so it's going to be, this will be centered in after I put my binding on. Now, what about this down here? Okay, you could do a lot of different things. You can do nothing. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm probably going to do, I haven't done any designing with it, but I think what I'm probably going to do is do my echo guide in just this part and make like one little flower. Or in my case, I have smaller rope templates. Now, I just finished saying don't try to sew with the echo guides, but with one of these, I think it would be okay. I think you would do fine.
So someone just asked why that corner doesn't have it. It's because it doesn't match up, right?
Right. Neither of the opposite corners don't have it. This doesn't have it. This corner doesn't have it because you can't keep going. It's not going to match up. If I did another one down here, this was the way I did this. If I did another one down here, it would be clear over here, and then it wouldn't look right with this one. Because you can see the way these are, this comes straight across. So you could put something small down here. I will probably, in fact, oh, where are my ropes? I'm trying to think where my ropes are. They're probably in that same packet. I could do that for them. My ropes were in my border packet. It's pink, and it has... It's over there. I see it. It has an orange zip. Yep, that's it. So let's see what we get here, you guys. So here's my little border. That's a little one. So I'm going to let you have that. And I'm going to get my mini crosshair square. So I've got my little mini crosshair square here, and I want this to finish up. So this is what I would be doing, seeing what's going to fit here without getting into my border section. So it looks like right here. So I am going to put that right in that area. And so what I've done is I've just put it right at the point there. So where that's at, I've got it on the line at that point. And I'm going to make exactly that same flower, only it's going to be little. So let's see here. I need my fabric out this way. And the mini crosshair squares come all three in a set. So you're going to get your 6, 8, and 5 point all in the same set. And remember I had this so that I had my flower spinning that way. So I'm going to come into the middle. Just make sure they can see, Megan. Needle down, needle up. And we'll come underneath here. And put that needle back down. And my A is here, and I'm using this right at that spot there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of my markers. Just to make it easy, I'll take it off of my big one. And right there at B1 is where I'm going to put that. Because I'm not using this as a rope, I'm using this to make a flower. Switch it to the next one. So some of you are wondering what this template is, and I'll tell you here in just a second because I got it upside down, so I can't really read what it says.
That's okay. They're all fascinated that you are designing on the go.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of go around in a circle. You heard it kind of get a little bit thick there, but it'll be just fine. I like it. I like it a lot. Can y'all see it? That pretty little flower. Okay, so what template is this? This is the rope 0.75A. So if you were to go on to order just this one, you're going to put in WCR dot 75A. Isn't it cute? It's a rope template, but it makes a beautiful flower. So let's go over here and do one more.
So the bigger one comes in the
Border
border
sampler set. So if you don't want the border sampler set, which I can't imagine because that's the one I used last week for all of my designs on that one. But anyway, that's the border sampler set. And then if you want the little rope, you're going to be able to get that individually or in a set. But I'm using the 8 points. And again, upside down because I want my flower to go that direction. Come into the middle, needle down, needle up, foot up. Put this back down, and we're good to go. Line that up. Now, I will tell you, I saw a comment, and I'm not saying this anything negatively, but I saw somebody say, well, you know, you could digitize that and you could do it in your embroidery machine. That person may be on tonight, and that's a very factual statement. And I've had many times people have said that to me when I'm doing my quilting at a booth at a show or whatever. And it's like, I get that, but my pleasure comes from working with my templates. And I know for some people that's like, are you crazy? You know, I mean, I love doing this. And so I would rather do this than do, you know, have a design like this that my embroidery machine did. Now, I know some people aren't like that. They do their edge-to-edge embroidery with their embroidery, and that's fine. Everybody likes their own thing. But when I saw that, I thought, oh, is this a new person who doesn't understand where we just like to do this? And so I know some of you are falling in love with it just like I have. You saw me go back and forth there so I can just pull that out. But there's what my corner's going to look like. Let me lift this up. So it's not going to meet, but in the corners I have this great little flower. I love the look of it. And so just that easy. We've got the lines to do here yet, but pretty quick. An hour and a half or so, we have put together a project. Again, like I said, I've got these lines to do, but that won't take long. And so I want you to understand that you can do all of these things just by having the right templates, the right things to use, using the right thread, getting everything set up, and making sure that you have little ruler stickers so that you can line things up like I'm doing. Now, can you mark on your rulers? You certainly can. You could put a piece of tape or whatever. But when I'm using this, I like to have this fine little point that I know what I'm matching up. So I'm going to quickly show you a couple of other things, but Megan, we're going to give away 3 prizes right now.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show you a couple of other things before we leave tonight.
2 more of those to give away.
Okay, so we're going to give 2 away of these, 2 right now. And the first person that's going to get one is Donna Jo Booza. Sorry if I didn't say that correctly. And Lois Williams. Lois Williams. So we've given away those, all 4 of those, is that right?
That is correct, and I misunderstood that we were giving away 4. So this last one that I've got here would be for
The dual angle mitered binding tool to Donna Glover. Donna Glover. And then I've got 4 rulers yet to give away. So after I show this next thing, I'll give the rulers away. I just wanted to turn this over so you guys can see the quilting on the back side, so you can see what that looks like. So I think it's going to really be pretty. All right, so let's see here. I need a piece of fabric, and Megan, I need a bigger piece. So do I have, there they are. Hang on here, guys. So I want to show you how to use the snowflake template that's from the winter collection. So if you haven't seen the winter collection, it has 5 templates in it, maybe 4. We're going to find it here in just a second. It was that bag right there. Do we have anything in it? Oh no, not that one. Got so many templates here. Yeah, that's it, Megan. So these are the winter collection templates. There's the snowflake. It's adjustable. This is the one that makes stars. This is the heart template. This is what's called Spinifex 8. And then this is the one, so I'm going to show you these 2. This is one here that does wreaths, circles on wreaths. So the circles on wreaths looks like this, and I'll show you how that's done. And then I'm going to show you the snowflake. This one I've already stitched out. This is the Spinifex. And let's see here. I used it with the 6-point, and that's what that stitches out. Look at that pretty little lacy edge in the center. And that's with the 6-point crosshair square. And so that's what this one stitches out as. Now something like that would have been okay to put in that corner, but I like the flower that we use because it has the same shapings in it. So let's go ahead and show you what how these templates work. But this is the winter collection.
And somebody's asking, is the winter collection duplicates of anything else they would have gotten?
The only thing that would be a duplicate would be if you had already purchased the heart set. This is a 3-inch heart, and that is in the heart set. But that's the only one that I know that would be a duplicate. Now I need my big 12.5 crosshair square, Megan. It's right, it was right there. I used it at the very beginning.
I haven't.
There's a white one right there. We have more than one, and we'll make more. Okay, so here it is right here, and I am going to draw this and connect the center. This will be the last time we use that mount. And so what I'm going to be doing first is the snowflake. So I'm going to show you that the snowflake comes with this channel here, and you can see there's a puzzle piece. So when I put that in there, I'm going to get a stem for my snowflake that's that size. Now the one I'm going to do first is clear down to this size. So I'm taking it down there and I'm just taping that in place. Now this is a little tiny one, so that when I'm doing the whole length, I can put this in and it'll fit in my little puzzle piece right there. Okay? All right. Is the heart you showed the same as the continuous heart? No, this is actually a heart template. So I don't think you're going to be able to see this with green thread, so let me get that off. No, it's a different heart. This one you actually can make hearts with. And if I get time here, I will show you that too.
And for some of our friends, Carol said she joined late, wants to know what marker you use. That's the clover marker with
iron off chalk,
Pounce.
iron off chalk. So it's a clover Choco pen. It's available from many stores, but So Steady sells it on their site also. I think you're going to have to hold it.
which I have been. Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're going to come to the center here. And I'm going to put the needle down, needle up, pull that up. Remember, my thread is still green from when I was using it before, so that's why it looks like you can't really see it. And I'm going to get all of that underneath my template. And I'm going to do this one out here first. So I'm going to set that right there. And we're going to come to the end here. We're going to line up down here on this end. And I need to pick a side. Am I going to push against the top or push against this side? I'm going to push against the side closest to me. And I'm still pushing against the side closest. I'm going to come up here. Going to the back. We'll just do half of this. That'll give us more time for the other. Now this one, I did this on purpose to show you. You see how that is two side by side rather than one on top of the other? That was coming down this side pushing and going back that way. You can do that if you like that look, but I wanted you to see just how much space there is side to side. Not much, but enough that you want to make sure you know what you're doing there. All right, so we are going to do a shorter one in between here. So what I'm going to do is I could actually mark it, put my crosshair ruler back down on there and mark that spot, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you how we can do that by just visually looking at it. So I'm going to have one here, and I'm just going to look to see, is this spaced right there? And yes, it is. So I'm just going to come down. Come to the next one, Look at my spacing right there.
So this is what helps give it more of that snowflake look, because it's got tall ones
Right.
and short ones.
And if you don't mix them up, now if you buy the snowflake set, you're going to have several different toppers. But you can use this winter collection and you're going to get the snowflake look with the same topper. So that would be half of it. And of course you can make smaller ones if you want. Oh, I'm hooked into my template there. There we go. You can make smaller ones if you want, but that's going to give you the look of a snowflake. So you can put these pieces any way you want in there. And if you just all you got to do is put them in place and then tape them to where you want them to be. Now, if you're going to make the longest one, there's no real place to tape it, so that's why you get this little guy here. You can see I got a little one, and that fits right in there so that I can now tape that down and have a real long one. So compared to these, that's almost a whole 1.5 inches longer.
Do you need to tape that down, or does the puzzle piece keep it in?
You
there?
have to tape it down.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to tape it down because it's not a tight puzzle piece and you'll lose it, and then you're not going to have a very fun template experience. So that's what your snowflake's going to look like, half of it there. And then you guys were asking about, let's see, which other one? Oh, this one right here. I'm going to show you how to do this. So I got to get my crosshair square. I could use a smaller one, but this is the one I've got handy. And so what I'm going to be doing is I am going to put 8 lines on there, and every third, there'll be 24 of these going around, and every third one will hit a line, and you'll see how I can keep that all lined up. So let's give a ruler away, Megan.
All right. Let me get over here and dig down deep in my pile. All right. Here is for the first centering ruler.
Centering ruler. Eloisa Deese. Okay. You are the winner, Eloisa. Now this template here has a hole in the center. Okay? And so that means that I'm going to be using it with a thumbtack. Now, you can either stick the thumbtack up through the hole or up through the fabric. In other words, you would put the thumbtack down, take it out, go to the back, and put it up from the bottom, which is fine to do. Or you can just use a tape. That same tape that I use for my templates is strong enough to hold this in place. I've had a lot of people who are questioning, well, for Christmas I'm using satin and it's going to leave a hole and yada, yada, yada. This is your solution right here, because you can see that that tape is not in any way going to get stitched on, because no matter where I put that, it's not going to stitch on there. All right, so here we go. I've got a line out the top. I again got an A, an A1, a B, and a B1. So in this case, I'm going to be sewing from A, clear around to B, and come back and stop at B1. Then I will rotate. This will move to B. I will stitch all the way to A and come back and stitch at A1. So if you're writing this down, it's A, A1, B1, B, and stop at B1. Rotate. It's B, B1, A1, A, A1. And then you repeat that. So I'm going to line up here. I'm going to be starting at A. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back this track a little bit. And I'm just going to start because I cut the last one. And then I'll be able to just cut this tail off. I could have pulled up the bottom thread and done the same thing. A1, B1, B, B1. Rotate. I can see that there's an etched line right here, and the edge of this, and when I rotate, that lines up. This line's right along the edge of what I previously stitched. So now it's B, B1, A1, A1, and stop. Rotate. And now the next one, I have a line to line up. So I can correct if I haven't been exact every third one. Actually fourth. 1, 2, 3, every fourth one. Moving it, line up here. This is lining up right with my previous stitching, and I'm going back to the middle. Rotate.
Question about crosshair grids. If you could only get one, would you get the 12.5 or the 8.5?
It's a tough question. You can always draw bigger, so I would probably get the 8.5. If you're getting started, you're going to get the 8 point. In other words, the one that has 8 crossings. And you would get the 8.5 inch. Because most of the templates to start out are designed for what's called the 8 point, which means 8 equal sections like I'm doing right here. You noticed a while ago I showed you that star, that Spinifex, that's part of this set, that actually was done with the 6 point. So somewhere along the line, to get more from your templates, you're probably going to get a 6 point ruler. I don't use the 5 point as much, but the 6 point I do use quite a bit.
The best way to remember how to use this ruler specifically, but other rulers as well?
That's why I told you the A to A1, because that for this particular template, that's true. It's not always true of the other ones. So if you want to write this down again, I'm getting ready to do it. So here would be the path on this one. It's A, A1, B1, and B, and back to B1. So let me say it again. So I would write down A, comma, A1, comma, B1, comma, B, comma, B1, and stop. And then your next word would be rotate. And now it would be B, comma, B1, comma, A1, comma, A, comma, A1, comma, stop. And then you're just going to repeat all of that.
So you went into way more detail on how I would just say also to look up, a lot of these are on our SoSeti, and you can log it in by the name and try and find videos.
Not all of them have the detailing, and this just makes it easy for this particular template, and there are several sizes of this. Now, I'm back to being ready for the last one. You can see the space right there. So when I rotate, I want to measure that right there. That's the only real thing that matters. And it looks like I'm right there. So what I'm going to do is go to B1. I should pass right by it, which I did. And now I have finished that, and I backstitched there just by going back over it. So you can see what this looks like, and that I was able to work with that with just tape on there. And you really can't tell, once I cut the threads away, where I started and stopped. And it just makes it easier when you understand how to work with those templates, so you can get so much out of the different templates. So I think I've covered pretty much all of that information. I will show you this heart. So the heart does just make hearts, but I've also used it to make a border. If you have not taken my class called Bless Your Hearts, that teaches how to do the borders with this. But I'm going to start down here and come to this position. I would have drawn some lines, you guys, but I'm just showing you how the templates manipulate. Flip it over. If you wanted to make 4 hearts, you would probably have drawn your crosshair grid. You'd come down here and do this one. Then you'd go up here and do those. I'm going to show you how to do a border here. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to take this out, flip it over. There would have been some lines drawn, trust me. And then I'm going to be over my snowflake, but you can see the heart over the snowflake.
Is this the 3-inch?
This is the 3-inch heart that's part of the winter collection. So you can see I made this little loop this way. This time I'm going to go this way. Pull this out. Oops. Got to turn it upside down. And we'll go this way. So you can see you could just do this as a border. And that's playing with that heart template. So play around with your templates with pencil and paper. If you've not gotten Stitching Line Disc or Echo Guides, I would certainly get those, because there's so many things that you can do with those different accessories, and they're very inexpensive, but it helps you to expand the use of your templates. So now we've got, let's see, three more rulers. I thought we were giving 4.
We already gave one away.
We did?
Didn't we?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
no. Here, I need to dig once more. Hold on.
Okay, this is what we're giving away now, and you can put stable tape on it so you can actually stitch beside it. So you've already given away one?
You already gave one away. Eloisa got one.
Eloisa got one. Okay, so this is Opal Rupp. Opal Rupp. Ivy Williams. Ivy was in my class, I believe, on Monday night. Ivy was with me with template quilting, so congrats to you, Ivy. And congrats to everybody, but I just recognized her from my Monday night class. And Wendy Cole. Wendy Cole, you are the winner of this template, or this ruler. So we had 12 big winners tonight. All of you are winners. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me for my birthday party. I certainly had fun giving you away presents. And I hope you learned some things tonight. I hope you'll get that rope template and play with it, because you can do some fun things with that and some quick gifts to make. And so enjoy your template quilting. Thanks so much. Like I said, have a great Thanksgiving with your small families, because for us, it's going to be just the 4 of us. So different from in the past, but we'll have a good time. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Be thankful for the blessings that you have, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday night. Bye for now.